Today we're making a mini bee book. Ciao, gentle viewers. Hey, thanks for coming back to the studio. Dawn and I are so happy that you're back here with us. We had a lovely vacation and the show was awesome. So I wish you could have all been there. It was really great. And you know, if you're brand new, we want to thank you for all your thumbs up, your likes, your donations on our PayPal tip jar. I hope I said that correctly. A thumbs up, likes, let's see, what else? Shares. What was the other one?
That's it.
He says that's it. Okay, all that good stuff. We want to thank you so much for that. And today we're going to be making a mini bee book, and it is partly inspired by my little bug book, which I'm sure you probably remember. Love this little book. So we're going to be making that, but I have lots to tell you about the inspiration of this little book. One of the people that inspired this book was Sarah Fishburne, my friend Sarah, and I wanted to share this with you today. If you don't know Sarah, then you need to Google her, look her up. She's an amazing artist and a dear friend of mine, and when we get together, we give each other presents. We do this little bag thing where we throw things into a bag and give each other these, you know, wrapped up books and treasures. Anyway, I just throw mine in a bag. Sarah actually creates an art piece on the bag, and I wanted to share that with you because I thought it was so cool. It's just so beautiful. It's so Sarah, and I just love it. So I'm going to be cutting this out and putting it on my door so that I can see it every day. So she's in the studio with me. Not that I don't have other art pieces of Sarah's, I do, but this is the latest piece, and I just love it. It's called Ladders and Bookshelf Installation, Dream Installation. So anyway, the other thing that inspired me was the Cavallini paper, the Bees and Honey, which Sarah had wrapped a book with, and synchronistically it was also the paper that Meg had in the window for the show, which I just thought was just so perfect. And when I got home, I thought I would really like to make a book with using this paper and to share that technique with you. So we're going to do that right now. Now, I know some of you are going to want to get this paper, so there are a couple ways you can get it. First of all, you could use our Amazon links, and you just simply go to any of our links just directly below where it says show more. Click on that and it'll show you all the different links. You can use any link and then just go get whatever Cavallini paper you want. If it's Bees and Honey or any of the other ones, you can do that. Or you could even call the store and have Meg send it to you, and Don will put that on the screen so that you can see it. I just thought it was just really beautiful, and I just loved the little pattern on the back of the paper. I wanted to do something that was similar to my little book, and so I came up with this little Bees and Honeys book, and love the little bee on the front. And these are tiny little baby buttons from a baby sweater. You know how I love to upcycle, recycle, reuse everything. On the inside, you can see it's corrugated cardboard. I used a tissue paper front piece, and for the back too, to protect the covers. And you can see that it's a bee book, and I haven't finished it. I've just poked it all together for you to create this book with. And then the back, of course, has the tissue paper too. So we're gonna do something really similar today. I thought we would make another bee book, but it will be different because, you know, making the same thing would be so boring, and we can't do that. So we're using cotty paper today. We're using corrugated cardboard, and we're gonna get started right away. I wanted to illuminate the bee on the front cover, and I didn't want to use metal again like I did with the little bug book. I wanted to use something different, and I had all of this old glass. I considered using this piece and decided it was just not what I wanted. And then I remembered I had all these tiny little ladies' watch faces in glass. And is that what you call them? Watch face, watch crystal. Cover, crystal. So anyway, I thought, wouldn't they be fabulous to use? And I think it turned out splendidly. So I had actually 2 of these. We're not going to do that today. We're going to do something different, maybe a bigger one, something like this. But anyway, I really loved the way it turned out. And, you know, it was a watch before, so you don't really have to worry about it hitting anything or breaking anything. So, so anyway, we're going to get started with that. I used corrugated cardboard, and when I went in to go into my stash of cardboard, and you can use any kind of corrugated cardboard that you find, any kind of, you know, depth. I mean, you can make it, you know, as fat as you want to. It doesn't matter, you know, what the actual size of the corrugation is. And if you don't have corrugated cardboard, you can make it by just ripping this back. It's time consuming, but you know, it's only what? It's only it's a tiny little piece. Where did I put it? I wrote it on here. 6 by 3-ish. So, you know, it's not that big. So if you have to do that, that would be fine. And you don't have to. You can just make it out of plain old cardboard. But I just thought it was a lovely way to use up bits, and I thought you would think so too. And so I cut my cardboard already to size, and I gessoed the front and the back with clear gesso. You could use any color you want to. And in fact, if you don't want it to show up in the middle like that, then you could, you know, use a clear gesso or put any color into your gesso that you want. In the clear gesso, in the white gesso, you can just color it so you don't have to look at it. I think it's cool that you can see through it. So, and then the last thing I wanted to share with you is that usually when you see books made of corrugated cardboard, they're covered, they're filled in, or they're just cardboard, you know, like we did this one, just plain cardboard. But in this instance, I thought it would be so fun to actually put the signatures into these lines. And so I have them all lined up and ready for us to work. So we're using Cotty papers, and here's the name, Cotty, in case you want to get it. And of course you can get that in our Amazon links too. You can just go on, you know, click on our Cotty paper link, and if that one's out, just look on any other link. We'll still get credit for that, so that's awesome. I'm using offcuts, so I had bigger pieces that I cut into the right, actually I didn't cut it, I tore it with my ruler, which you can get on our links too. I tore it with the ruler, and they are roughly 2.5 by 5-ish in length and width. And inside the Cotty paper, these little books have papers, usually colored papers, front and back. And I loved this gray color, and I thought it would really work well as a nice contrast with our kind of yellow gold color, ochre color. And so I've already gotten some of the pages done, but I wanted to share the technique that I created, that I used to create the book with. So we're going to paint some papers right now. Okay, so I just use this, I don't know, I call it a bundling technique. I don't know what you call it, but, or what you might want to call it, but I just lay them all together and then paint them, and it gives it a kind of different look to it. Kind of goes back and forth, and it's, you know, just a fun technique, so that they don't look just so completely painted, like, oh, she painted the page. This is more, you know, intuitive, more interesting, a little bit more fun. And then when I get it to where I want it, I'm just using water too to make a wash. So you paint on one, you paint on the others, and I just go back and forth until I get the look that I want. And then if it comes out too dark, and we moved over here so that, because everything was going to be quite wet and messy, And I just didn't want that table to be so messy, so we moved over. So just so you know, we're in a different spot. Okay, so now this one is a little bit dark, so I'm going to use some white on top of that. Now, I decided to paint the pages because I'm going to want a collage on them. And you know, cotty paper is made with rag. It's got a high rag content, and so it needs to have some kind of fixative on it to keep it from, you know, so that you can, so it acts like a primer basically is what I'm doing. And you don't have to do this. If you want to just use the plain papers, you know, the white cotty, then that's fine. You know, do whatever you want to do. It's going to be your book. But anyway, this is what I'm doing. And I like the randomness of every page. They're all going to look different. So I'm using a little bit of titanium white and coming over on top. And we're going to block that out so I don't have to see that. There we go. And then with these, we're just going to paint these with whatever I have left over. So a little bit of white, and then like this. Okay. I love this technique. I use this a lot. Okay, so you wait for the gesso, the clear gesso, to dry on your cardboard, and then you paint your pages. And then these are just slightly damp, and I happen to think that that's the best time to do this. Now, this is super easy, as I told you. We're just going to run one piece of wax thread through, and then from the inside and then through the back to the front side, back to come back up, and then we're going to just tie a knot. So we just need to poke 2 holes right in the center. So I'm going to use my old rag here, and I have my trusty awl right here. I'm just going to eyeball it, and you want it to have a little bit of distance between. And you have to go through quite a few layers. That's why I think it's probably best if you do it when it is damp. So one side and then the other side. Now you can make it absolutely even if you want to. I didn't worry about that because, you know, I don't worry about those things. So I'm just going to go back through the hole just to make sure that I've got a nice connection here. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got it all ready. And what I did was I sandwiched, so we're using 3 pages for each signature, and I sandwiched the gray in with the white painted pages. So we've got 3 of those. We're going to do this. We're going to do 3 different signatures, and they're going to go right into the book. And so we're going to now put the first signature in, and I'm going to put it right in the center. And I have little marks so that I know where I want it to go. Now I want it to go in the center because we're going to wrap it with paper, and we're going to be able to pull this back and tuck the paper underneath, which will be nice, you know, to get rid of that. Now, as I said before, if you want to paint your corrugated cardboard another color, or put a paint color into your gesso, that would change this color. I wouldn't recommend really papering it, but if you want to paper it, you could do that too. It's just, you know, it's completely personal preference. So I'm going to start here, and I've got this one, and I'm going to poke right through there. I have my waxed linen, and I've got a fairly dull embroidery needle, and if you need waxed linen, you can get it on our site. It comes in black and brown, and I'm going to use the white for this, although either one of those colors would be beautiful on the inside too. I'm going to go through here and through the hole in the cardboard, and then through the back. so you won't have a knot on the back side. You're going to cover this with the paper. So it doesn't really matter. You don't need a whole lot. I just used quite a bit so that I could tie a knot. You can use however much you want, you know. If you want to cut it a little shorter than that, you can, but I prefer to just snip them off at the ends. And I snipped these off right away because it just made it a little easier when you're putting the book together. So we're just going to continue this way. I'm just going to poke more holes and we'll get the signatures done and we'll be right back. So this is the last signature. I'm just tying this up. You can make it a little wider if you want to stitch it here and here to pull it through, but I really think it'll be enough because the cotty paper is really strong. I'm just going to snip these off. Okay, and then it lays nicely down because it's waxed. So now we have the beginning of our book. Now we're going to cover our book. And I was thinking that, got my scissors under there. I was thinking that I really liked this area right here. I thought that would be really cool. And so I simply turned the paper. Actually, what I did was I held it up against the window so the light came through and I could actually see where I wanted to what images I wanted to use for my cover. And so I turned it over and I used my pencil as a guide to put it there. So what I'm going to do is just turn it over and then I'm going to cut it. I'm going to create a little selvage edge on it so that it'll fold over nicely and we can tuck it in so that you won't be seeing that part. And of course the cardboard gives so you can bend it and push it back in. So it's pretty cool. So we're just going to turn this over and cut it now. And of course I'm using gel matte medium, just regular. And I'm going to cover the outside of the book. And I have my paper cut to size with an edge all around it so we can tuck it back around the book. Of course, and if you've seen all my other bookmaking videos, you know that you have to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to put the gel on the paper, on our Cavallini paper. Okay, and now I've got to decide which is the, I think I like that. Yeah, I like that side. And this is going to be our front cover here. So we're going to line that up. And we're going to lay this down on here. We're going to open this up. We're going to lay it flat. And if you remember, I talked about Cavallini, how thick it is. And you have to get a really good connection with the cardboard. I don't know what's rattling, but it's making me crazy. Okay, so now we've got the paper down here, and that's exactly where I wanted the line to go. Lovely. Okay, so we have the cover on. And now we're going to need a little clip to hold all of our pages together. Well, I guess it's not a little clip, it's kind of a large clip. So it's not exactly little, but... okay, so now you're going to have to be liberal with your gel matte medium for the corners because, of course, it's corrugated cardboard. But how fun is that to have the grooves already in place for you to stitch your signatures in? I just think it's so fun, and it's going to make me want to create more books with corrugated cardboard now because of that. And I'm going to fold these up. Might take you a little bit to fold them like this. I'll turn it so you can see. And you can do your corners any way you want to. This is just the way I like to do it. I'm just, I like fat corners. And then we'll just wait just a little bit, poke it down so that it dries just a little bit, and then come back and do this. Okay, we're going to do this side. Now, if you don't have one of these clips, you could use a big paper clip or clothespin or something like that to do it. And now I'm going to take it off because we're going to put these underneath here like this. I'm trying to stay out of the way so that you don't see my hair. And now we're going to just pull it back just slightly like that. And then I can tuck the paper underneath it. There we go, just like that. Easy peasy. Don't you love it? Works out really well, I think. All right, we have images on our cover. Woohoo! Yay! So I have the back covered, the inside cover in the back. And now I'm going to do this side, and I just cut out a piece that I liked and I just folded the edges over. Super, super easy. I told you this book is really simple. And now I'm going to do this side too. And this is the front cover here. So I'm just going to place it here and see where I want to fold it. Okay. And then I'm just going to fold all the edges and glue it in. Super easy. Okay, I've got the B on the inside. And got the B on the back. Got it all covered. Now we're going to work on the little B for the front, and we've got tissue paper that we're going to put inside the book too. So I used my decal scissors to cut a piece of tissue paper. This is a little thicker than this tissue paper. It's just, you know, it's completely different. It's more of a metallic. But I just thought it would be fun to do it. And you know, those old-fashioned books, handmade books, always had a piece of tissue to protect the front pages. So that's what we're doing. Sometimes I like to use parchment paper, but we're going to use tissue today. So and then what did I do with my awl? Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to put this right up here. It's got to come back here. And I just kind of eyeballed it. And if it doesn't quite work, or if it's too big, if the paper is too big, I will just cut it with my decal scissors. I like the way that it sticks out of there though. That looks pretty cool, don't you think? Love that. Okay, so got that one. Now we're going to make the back one. So I've decided to put B under this glass, and I just want to cut it down to a more reasonable size. And so I'm thinking it's going to be like this. Something like that. And if you decide that you have a piece a watch face that looks like this, the crystal, and want to do the buttons, then you would put that in before you cover the inside, of course. And I simply used my awl to punch 2 holes, and then I used thread to actually stitch it on there. So it's not glued, it's stitched, both of them. And then I covered the inside. So that's the way you would do it. We're not going to do that today just because, you know, of time, but we are going to glue this down. So the way I did it was I simply poked this on here. You don't need a whole lot, but you do need a little bit. And then we glued it onto the glass, just like that. And you want to push it because it's not flat, you know, it has a nice curve to it, they all do. And so you want to center it where you want your bee, or whatever you're going to use, if you're going to use a flower or whatever. And then we're just going to trim it up. Now you could use a, you could wait for it to dry and just use your sanding paper or sanding wedge, whatever. But it's pretty easy to cut it. Just have to make sure I don't have glue on my scissors, because that would be awful. Okay, so we've got our bee. We're waiting for our pages to dry. And we're going to place the bee right there. Well, we're at Chow for now. Can you believe it? I had a lot of fun making my little bee book and making this one with you today, and I hope you give it a try and play with some crystals and see what you come up with. It can be any topic you want, whatever inspires you. And so until next time, ciao for now.